Welcome to the Tour Coach Podcast. I'm Tony Ruggiero here, as I always am, your host, and you're joining in on what we are now having as the Tour Coach Minis. And those are little 10-minute conversations with myself or Jackson Koert, who's going to be hosting some of this. Most of you are all familiar with Jackson. Great young teacher, now at Atlantic Beach Country Club, and he spends a lot of time with us. And we've invited Jackson to be part of this. He does such a good job, spends so much time. But these will be 10-minute conversations and musings from around the world of golf, from around our travels, our friends, our players, other coaches, to give you more Tour Coach, more Dew Sweeper content during the week. So you now have got your main Tour Coach podcast coming on Mondays, followed by a mini on Wednesday and a mini on Friday. So you've got all the Dew Sweepers, all the Tour Coach you could ever want. And just like the Dew Sweepers radio show or the Tour Coach podcast, the Tour Coach minis are brought to you by our friends at Shrixon Golf, our friends at Bushnell, Buick, GMC, especially Mitch McConnell and McConnell Automotive. And you can't forget Vineyard Vines that keep us all looking good. So enjoy this episode of the Tour Coach Mini. And we're here with all the golf content you could ever want each and every week.
In the studio, the new studio at Atlantic Beach Country Club, we got swing catalysts, we got cameras, we got all this stuff. But with, I don't play favorites, but maybe one of my favorites at the club. Just don't tell anybody. Yeah, Scott Nicholson.
Hello.
Legend here at ABCC.
For sure.
So we started working how long ago?
How long have you been here?
Creeping on a year. It's probably been what?
Probably close to a year.
Okay, 9 months. And so it was kind of known through the club that you were a guy that always had a new move. This is my new move.
That's my name, new move.
New move, okay? And so we've worked for a little while. Like, I think if you back up to where we started, it was for sure on, like, kind of keeping you grounded, right? Your feet.
Yeah, it was the first thing we did, grounded.
Yeah, your feet were kind of all over the place, right? Which made it difficult for you to turn. And he's a lefty, and you've got a right shoulder injury.
Correct.
Okay. So that, in my mind, obviously affects your pivot, right? And how we load back, because people listening to this know that Tony and I teach a bunch of pivot.
Right.
And you know that now, right?
I love that. I needed that 62 years ago.
I just hammer you on how to turn back and how to turn through, because I think the better you do that, it's either easier or the club will start to take care of itself.
Correct.
Okay? So we started getting you grounded, getting you moving better, but then you've said this a couple times now, but there's this chipping motion that you've learned and kind of taken into your entire game.
Correct.
Tell us about that.
Well, I was a terrible chipper. Not a terrible chipper, actually. Just not a great chipper. I was afraid of the hard pan. I'm great out of the rough, but I was afraid of the hard pan.
Because here it's tight.
It's all tight. It's tight. There's no rough at this course. It's tight. It's hard.
Bermuda
hard
grainy.
And firm.
Yeah.
Yes, and grainy. So I was reluctant to even go practice until Jackson. I took a lesson from Jackson, and he said my lines weren't that bad. I remember you saying that. But he changed my ball position, the most important thing to me was to sole the club properly.
Because you had the toe up.
Right, I had the toe up. Right, I had the toe up. So now it's like second nature to me, where I have the club, I set it down, I let it lie naturally where it's supposed to be, and then I grip it from there. And
is the face open at all?
And the face is open. Yes, the face is open. I want it open.
Okay.
And it's sitting there, and then when I just take it back and then come back through, and then my chest follows the ball through. And I never did that before. So it's more of a chest move than it was an arms and hands move. And I've gotten really good at it. Like, I consider myself a really good chipper now. But what it's done for me is I'm on the range like 3 weeks ago, and I'm hitting these chip shots. I always start the chip shot, Jackson's move. And I was moving my body so well, my chest so well. I said, well, maybe I should do that with all my clubs. And I just started doing that move, more of a motion with making that great turn, because I didn't turn at all. Jackson's got me pivoting so much better. And then I'm using my left pec almost to down on my downswing, that just make it a longer chip shot, and it's just transformed my game.
So, to paint the picture for people listening, left pec meaning for you your trail side, right? So if you're a righty, it's your right pec. But as you're doing this here, really what's happening is your trunk, really like your middle, your belt, and your buttons are turning back and turning through. Around stable feet.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And so what that looks like in my eyes is like that grip is kind of moving with your center the whole time.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you've laid this foundation now from your feet up, but now where you can rotate around your spine based on your feet. And what you've done is you've built a great feel with your wedges, and now you can build the same feel up into your full swing as you progress, which is like, okay, so Vinny, right? Like I've got a college kid. He always talks about how like his swing is always awesome, right? It looks great on camera, but he talks about how his feels are different day to day, and he tries to build this skeleton of feels every day. But I was talking to Vinny about it because I was just picking his brain because Vinny's great with the swing stuff. And he talked about how important it was when he's warming up for the wedge shots, right? He starts with the little ones and he starts to get the same movements down. And he goes, so then I get my trajectories, right? And I've got my speeds and left and right and feel for the face. And so I think that's what kind of what you're doing around your own model, being like your feet and then rotating around your spine with like your chest and your pelvis. And then from there, it's easier for you to go to a wedge into an 8-iron. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I've never been more confident in my swing right now, just from, like, I built the foundation from the chipping and just moved it all the way up. Whether that's right or not, I don't know, but it's transformed my game now that I'm hitting my driver with my weakest club. I was a good chipper and decent iron player and putter, but I couldn't keep it. Now it's like I'm so much more focused, and I'm confident with my swing that my driver has just been straight down the middle.
Yeah. So backing up, when I was a junior, I was an okay junior player. And so my parents didn't know anything about golf. They took me to a good local instructor, right? So I worked with him 7th grade through freshman year, and he never saw me play one hole of golf.
Wow.
I was standing on a teaching tee beating balls.
Right.
Okay. Get to play in college. Only reason was because I worked really hard at it, right? And I switched coaches, and this guy was completely different, right? First lesson was on the golf course, seeing what I was doing. So that was new. But like you pull up to see him for a lesson, you park at the club, he picks you up, you would drive clear across the range to the other side where there's a small teaching tee.
Right.
You'd hit balls, you'd get warm, he'd film you face on down the line with 7-iron and driver, wouldn't tell you a thing. You'd drive clear across the range again to the chipping green, kind of like here, right? And you'd go over to like 30 yards. And he'd say something like, okay, you got to right arm folds earlier, finish on top of your left. And I was doing it with a 30-yard shot. And we'd back up to 50 because this wedge range went to like 90 yards, 100 yards almost, right? So I'd start at 30, and I'd just work back in 20-yard increments. Doing that same feel, learning at 30, okay. Then we'd drive clear across the range again. So first couple times, I'm like, man, you're wasting my time, right? Paying you for the hour. We're driving back and forth. Get to the other side. He has me do it with a wedge. Has me do it with an 8-iron. He films it and he shows me. So he didn't even tell me really what we were working on, but just told me these 2 cues, and the swing would change already.
Wow.
So what he was doing was that in a condensed period of time, right? Teach you something small, slow, so you can learn it, and then you take it to the full swing. Right. And like that, to me, I think that model is good, whether you're a scratch or a beginner. That's what the Operation 36 program is built around that. Teach them from 25, you back up to 50, and you go backwards. But, yeah, that's your foundation. Yeah,
but Jackson has transformed my game. I mean, it's amazing. I'm a range rat anyway, so now that, I just feel so confident I can't wait to play.
But now you're not new move.
No, never a new move. That's my last new move. I've got the last new move. Okay. If anyone hears this and knows me, they'll go, yeah, right.
So then your challenge, what we were talking about today, is maybe we get some on video and we save it so you've got a template, but you also write down feels.
Yes.
What do you feel maybe on the range? What do you feel with your wedges? What do you feel with your irons? What do you feel on course?
Right.
So then, because golf's difficult.
It's amazing how, actually, now that I'm more confident, because I was always like known as, all right, he's decent on the range, you go to the course, that, I'm like panicked because I don't think I ever had it on the range. Now that I feel much more confident when I go to the course, it's almost like I'm not nervous. Like, as Vinny, when I play with Vinny, I'm like shaking, It's like Vinny has to tell me, Scott, I'm not that good. But I would get nervous going to the first tee because I really never felt like I had it. I'm like, oh God, what's gonna happen on number one? but now I walk right up there and I just feel so confidence is just
huge.
It's huge. It's unbelievable. This is the most confident I've ever been. Again, because I built something, I feel that it's built the right way versus the Band-Aid approach I've been using all my life. And I built something good, I think.
Yeah. And this something good, looking forward, because golf's funny and it's not going to be this easy forever.
Right.
But obviously being able to tap into this confidence as you go through this progression of improving through golf. Andy Ogletree, one of Tony's guys, and he's one of the best with playing, right? We'll be on the range hitting balls, I'll be watching him, and he'll just say, this is not golf.
Right.
It's not what it's like in the course. You have different lies and wins and pins.
It's totally different.
So I asked him one time, like, how you take it to the golf course, and he kind of gave me a breakdown of that. But what he said was, most of the time you're playing in wind and you have all these conditions, and if it's not firing on all cylinders, he has 2 shots where if he's not feeling it out there, he has 2 shots for him to get it around the golf course and get it into 18, go back to the range and maybe work on it, staying with whatever he's working on to build on that confidence and take it to the golf course. So then if this is kind of your foundation, hopefully it never changes, and then so whatever, it's not very good for a week or a month, but you should have a shot or 2 based on maybe around this pitching motion where it's whatever, it's a choke down little cut or a knock down little draw, where you're keeping it in front of you, and you can finish that round and keep working on it, and then you start working on scoring stuff,
well, Jackson,
not swing stuff.
You told me that, like, when we had our last lesson, and I've done it. So I've been working on this little cut shot. So if things go awry... Because
you like to hit draws.
Huh?
You like to hit draws.
I like to hit draws, but if it goes awry and I don't feel it, I go right to my cut. Because for whatever reason, I hit a cut. I was a slicer back in the day. I was not a great player, but so I can just I can hit a cut all day long. Sometimes it overcuts, but it's not going to be terrible like a smother hook. Like
know where it's going.
I know where it's going, right in the general. So if I'm not playing, because that's what you hammered in my head the other day. You have to have 2. You have to have a second serve.
Correct.
That's what you called it, and I took that to heart. And I was like, all right. And so I can hit this cut now. So if don't feel confident, then I'll just go to the cut, and at least I know, it's not going to be out of bounds, a terrible shot.
And is the cut motion compared to the draw motion, that foundation, like with how you move, similar?
It's not.
Really?
It's not. I'm actually working on to get it, but I've been a cutter like all my life, so I can just do it. I just sort of take it up straight and bring it back and sort of cut across it. And so
I don't the chest feel the same in there?
No, but I'm working on getting it there because I know it needs to be there. No. Actually, when I was hitting balls just a minute ago, I was hitting some of my 5-iron cuts, and I was trying to get my good move, what I'm working on move. But for right now, it's just like if I had to go play right now, I wouldn't try the draw move that I'm working on that's working so good. If I was going to cut it, I just hit my cut move where I just sort of pick it straight up, keep it like that, and just sort of give it a little bit of a cut motion. Perfect. Line up a little bit like this, and
so good.
But I do hit a cut now on 13 every time. That like you told me, I even drive it straight cut, and I can just. It's the perfect hole for me, left-handed, to cut that thing.
That's right. All right, Scott.
Jackson's the man.
Yeah, thanks.
I just want to remind everybody something that I forgot. Recently, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I went out. We went to a wedding, and afterwards with some friends, we were like, hey, where's a great place to go? I'll be honest, like in my travels and day-to-day, sometimes I get caught up and I forget some of the great places right around the corner. But I got to remind you about the Icebox Bar on 755 Monroe Street. I was blown away, just the whole vibe, the atmosphere, and with the Velvet Pig, the food in the back room and the big screen TVs up front. We sat there and watched some playoff games. I was blown away by the atmosphere, the vibe, and just how cool it was to have the Icebox Bar right here near the Dew Sweepers downtown, near where I live. You're looking for a great place to go sit, watch some games, hang out, play some pool, you got to go to the Icebox Bar right there on Monroe Street. There's a good chance you'll see all of us hanging out. But do yourself a favor, go visit the Icebox. It's one of the best places out there. Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero. And look, recently, several teachers I know and several players have had some scares with skin cancer. fact, I recently went and saw a dermatologist here in town, and I had a couple things frozen off, eyelid, my face, my earlobe, and not getting any younger. And I know it's getting to that time of the season where it's cooler, but look, being in the sun is a real deal, and I've not been very good, to be totally honest, my whole career at using it at all, because I didn't like how greasy it was, how hard it was to get off your hands, how it clogged up my pores. And then I found this sunscreen, Visor Skincare. It's clear, it goes on, it doesn't dry you out, it isn't greasy, it's like you didn't put anything on it. By far, it's the best sunscreen I've ever used. Without a doubt, is the easiest to use. And we've got a discount code for all of you. All you have to do is go to visorskincare.com, use our code word DewSweeper. visorskincare.com, code word DewSweeper.